What if I told you Darth Vader built his castle for one heartbreaking reason? To bring Padme back from the dead. While most fans think Sith temples were just about power and domination, the truth is far darker. In part 2 of our deep dive into Sith structures, we're uncovering the chilling secrets behind the galaxy's most terrifying dark side monuments. These aren't just temples. They're portals, prisons, and cursed battlegrounds where the Force was twisted beyond recognition. Let's dive back into the shadows of the Sith. In canon, Darth Vader's castle on Mustafar represents one of the most personal and tragic Sith structures ever built. This wasn't a temple built for conquest or power. It was built for love, and that made it all the more terrifying. When Palpatine rewarded Vader with a world of his choosing after his successful Jedi hunts following Order 66, Vader selected Mustafar, the very planet where he had suffered his greatest defeat. When questioned why, Vader explained that when he had bled his Kyber crystal at the dark side nexus on Mustafar, he had seen deeper into the Force than ever before. He believed things were possible at that nexus that were impossible elsewhere. Before departing, Palpatine gifted him the mask of Darth Momin, an ancient Sith architect whose consciousness had been preserved within it. Momin's history had been suppressed from both Jedi and Sith holocrons because his methods were deemed heretical even by Sith standards. When Vader asked how Palpatine knew of Momin, the Emperor simply replied, "The mask told me." Upon arriving at Mustafar, Momin's mask possessed Imperial officers to design and oversee construction. The ancient Sith revealed his vision. The Force Nexus could be used to open a portal between life and death, allowing one to bring back the spirit of a deceased person into the world of the living. For Vader, this represented his golden opportunity to resurrect Padme. The castle's design was revolutionary, a massive angular tower topped with a tuning fork structure that could focus and channel the dark side energies of the planet. This architectural marvel was designed to tune the dark side itself, flooding the entire castle with Force energy and turning it into a massive focusing lens for dark side power. The construction was plagued by failures and supernatural interference. 8 times the castle was built, and 8 times it was destroyed when Vader attempted to open the portal. The repeated failures and dark energies being unleashed made the native Mustafarians increasingly hostile, as they could sense the growing evil in their world. The very wildlife beneath Mustafar's surface began turning against Vader's forces. Momin possessed a series of bodies throughout the construction. First Mustafarian natives that Vader captured, then Imperial stormtroopers when previous hosts were destroyed. With each failure, Vader grew more impatient and threatening, but Momin insisted on perfection for his masterpiece. After 9 attempts, the design was finally perfected. The 9th castle successfully opened the portal between life and death, but in a cruel twist while Vader was away dealing with attacking Mustafarian forces. The deceitful Momin betrayed him. The ancient Sith used the portal to resurrect his own physical form instead of helping Vader bring back Padme. When Vader returned to find the resurrected Momin, their confrontation was inevitable. In their final duel, Vader destroyed both Momin and the portal, losing his last chance to bring back the woman he loved. Despite its failed original purpose, Vader kept the castle as his personal fortress. The structure served multiple functions: a throne room where he could overlook the volcanic beach where Anakin had burned, meditation chambers enhanced by the castle's dark side amplification, back-to-tank facilities, and even a secret shrine to Padme. The only room in the entire castle containing anything relating to Anakin Skywalker, rather than Darth Vader. The castle stands as a monument to the tragedy of Darth Vader, a man so consumed by loss that he would literally try to break the laws of death itself. Hidden in the perpetually dark world of Umbaran was one of the most specialized Sith training facilities ever constructed. Built by the Brotherhood of Darkness during the final days of the new Sith Wars, this academy had one purpose: creating the galaxy's deadliest assassins. The facility was constructed around 1000 BBY, chosen specifically because of the dark side energy that flowed through the shadowy landscape. The planet's eternal darkness made it perfect for training Sith, who specialized in stealth and murder. Students at this academy weren't taught the typical Sith arts of conquest and domination. Instead, they learned deception, cunning, and most importantly, how to kill without hesitation. The Academy became notorious for producing some of the best dark side assassins in galactic history. The most prestigious graduates were the Umbaran Shadow Assassins, elite warriors who used force pikes and could utilize the dark side to conceal not just their force presence, but their physical presence as well. They could block sound from escaping their location, becoming living shadows that could strike without warning. These assassins prided themselves on killing primarily with the Force rather than weapons. They used their force pikes so rarely that rumors spread that their hand-to-hand combat skills couldn't match a Jedi Padawan. But this was by design. Why dirty your hands with crude weapons when you could stop someone's heart with a thought? The Academy's training was so brutal that survival itself was an achievement. Students had to endure grueling tests that would break most beings, and only those who emerged from this crucible were deemed worthy to serve as the galaxy's most feared killers. The mysterious Varad Zag used the temple's dark energies to create force projections of Ahsoka Tano, Anakin Skywalker, and Mace Windu, testing a young Jedi Knight who had tracked down pieces of a lost Sith holocron. The temple's influence may have even affected Jedi General Pong Krell during the brutal Battle of Umbara, contributing to his fall to the dark side and eventual betrayal of his clone troopers. When the true Sith rebuilt their empire after the Great Hyperspace War, they chose Dromund Kaas as their new capital. But they didn't just build a temple there, they transformed the entire planet into a colossal dark side nexus. The Sith Emperor turned Dromund Kaas into a living shrine to his power. The Imperial Citadel at its heart rivaled the old Citadel on Ziost, but this structure was different. It wasn't just built on a Force nexus. It was designed to create one. The Emperor's mastery of Sith alchemy and dark side rituals allowed him to infuse the planet's atmosphere with malevolent energy. Perpetual storms raged across the surface, and the flora and fauna evolved into twisted, sinister forms that reflected the world's corruption. The Citadel served as the beating heart of this transformed world, channeling dark side energy across the entire planet. From here, the Sith Emperor ruled his reconstituted empire for over a millennium, plotting the Republic's destruction while drawing power from an entire world reshaped in his image. After learning the ways of the Sith from Nagasado on Yavin 4, Freedon Nadd conquered the planet Onderon and ruled with an iron fist. But even death couldn't contain his influence, and his tomb on Onderon's demon moon, Dxun, became a powerful nexus of dark side energy. The Jedi went to extraordinary lengths to contain Nadd's influence, even moving his body from its original resting place to a more secure tomb on Dxun. But their efforts were in vain. The tomb became a pilgrimage site for power-hungry Sith and fallen Jedi, seeking to learn from the ancient Dark Lord's spirit. The tomb's dark energy was so potent that it influenced Onderon's royal family for generations. Even during the Clone Wars, the planet was still ruled by monarchs descended directly from Freedon Nadd, carrying his legacy of darkness in their very bloodline. One of the tomb's most significant visitors was Exar Kun, who followed the trail of Sith knowledge from Dxun back to Yavin 4, where he would eventually establish his own dark empire and nearly destroy the Jedi Order. Hidden deep in the twisted jungles and jagged mountains of Dromund Kaas was another more secretive temple, one built not by the Sith Empire but by a Splinter faction that rejected mainstream Sith doctrine. This temple was established by Millennial, a Sith who embraced the planet's challenges as opportunities to forge his followers in the fires of adversity. The nightmarish world of perpetual storms and treacherous landscapes where technology faltered and life had evolved into something truly sinister became the perfect crucible for his burgeoning Sith Splinter religion. The Dark Force Temple, as it came to be known, was hidden from prying eyes and became a beacon for those disillusioned with traditional Sith teachings. Here, in the heart of Dromund Kaas's most dangerous regions, Millennial's followers developed their own twisted interpretation of the dark side. Millennia after the fall of the ancient Sith Empire, Darth Krayt established his own vision of Sith dominance. His fortress marked a radical shift from traditional Sith architecture and philosophy. Instead of encouraging the infighting that had doomed past Sith orders, Krayt demanded absolute unity under his rule. The one Sith, his new order, rejected the self-destructive traditions of old. Krayt's fortress became the heart of a Sith empire that placed him as supreme ruler, with no tolerance for betrayal or internal power struggles. Built with technology inspired by Krayt's torturous experiences with Yuuzhan Vong biotechnology, the fortress reflected his transformation from Jedi to Sith Lord. His living armor, crafted from Vong tech, enhanced his presence and amplified his dark side powers. Hidden deep within the Outer Rim on a remote, forgotten world lies one of the Sith's oldest and most mysterious strongholds, the Sith Temple on Kesh. Long before the Rule of Two, a powerful faction of exiled Sith, known as the Lost Tribe, crash-landed on Kesh after fleeing the destruction of their fleet. Cut off from the galaxy and presumed dead, these Sith didn't fade away. They built a new empire from the ashes. At its heart was their temple, a towering, ominous structure carved into the very bones of the land. The Kesh Temple wasn't just a place of worship or training. It was the center of Sith culture for generations. Rulers were crowned there, ancient rituals were performed, and knowledge from a darker age was preserved in holocrons that predated Darth Bane himself. But as with many Sith sites, power came at a cost. Over centuries, the temple became a breeding ground for paranoia, betrayal, and madness, a perfect reflection of Sith ideology. Internal wars tore through the Lost Tribe, and while the temple remained standing, its legacy rotted from within. What makes the Kesh Temple especially chilling is that it represents what happens when the Sith are left alone, undisturbed by Jedi, by Republic, or even by the galaxy at large. The darkness doesn't shrink, it festers. To this day, the Kesh Temple remains a symbol of forgotten power, and the price of unchecked ambition in the dark side's purest form. Sometimes the most terrifying Sith temples aren't built by the Sith at all. Hammer Station is one of the most disturbing examples of how desperation can drive even the Republic to create weapons worthy of the Sith. During the Great Galactic War, as the Sith Empire pushed the Republic to the brink, Republic engineers made a desperate choice: build a superweapon to turn the tide. The result was Hammer Station, a prototype battle station constructed inside a hollowed-out asteroid. Its design was simple and devastating. A powerful tractor beam combined with a gravity cannon allowed it to hurl nearby asteroids at high speeds toward targets. The kinetic force was so great that no shield could withstand it. When deployed over a planet, Hammer Station could level cities with a single strike. It was a weapon capable of cracking worlds, built by the very faction that claimed to uphold peace and justice. But here's the chilling part: the Republic was too afraid to use it. Even facing annihilation, they couldn't bring themselves to unleash such destruction. The project was shut down and the station abandoned. Years later, the Adva hegemony found the forgotten station in the Outer Rim. They reactivated it, seized the stockpile of Republic war droids on board, and began using it in a campaign of terror. The irony was brutal. A weapon made by the Republic to stop the Sith had become a tool of conquest for another group of warlords. Eventually, both the Sith Empire and the Republic sent strike teams to destroy it, finally ending the threat their own desperation had created. Hammer Station is proof that the line between light and dark isn't always clear. Sometimes the greatest monsters are built not by the Sith, but by those who think they're saving the galaxy. If you thought other Sith temple weapons were terrifying, wait until you hear about the Desolator. Conceived by the cunning Sith Lord Tarnis, Darth Angral's son, and later constructed by his father, Darth Angral, during the Cold War between the Sith Empire and the Republic, this wasn't just a weapon. It was a method for torturing entire worlds to death. Rather than simply blowing up planets like the Death Star would later do, Tarnis envisioned something far more sadistic. The Desolator was a hybrid system, combining 3 Republic superweapon projects that Tarnis had somehow acquired while working undercover as a Republic scientist: the Planet Prison, the Deathmark Laser, and the Shock Drum. Its 3-stage process was methodical in its cruelty. First, it ionized a planet's atmosphere, turning the world into a massive ion cannon. This cut off all communication, grounded every ship, and trapped the population with no hope of escape. Stage 2 ignited that atmosphere, triggering a planet-wide firestorm that burned deep into the crust. Imagine a world engulfed in fire with nowhere to hide and no escape. The final stage triggered seismic vibrations strong enough to destabilize the core, tearing the planet apart over hours. chunks of the world scattered into space, and lingering ionization made the area inaccessible for months. The Desolator's only successful test was on the Agri world of Freedon. The result: complete and total annihilation in 3 escalating phases of destruction. The galaxy was dotted with smaller Sith structures, each with its own dark purpose. The city of Kesiak on Thula served as a watchpost on the borders of the ancient Sith Empire, remaining soaked in dark side energy up to the time of the Clone Wars. On various worlds throughout Sith space, academies and shrines were built to train new generations of dark side adepts. Korriban alone housed multiple academies beyond the Valley of the Dark Lords, including facilities built by Darth Revan and Darth Malak's Sith Empire, and later by the Brotherhood of Darkness. These smaller temples often served specialized purposes. Some focused on Sith alchemy, others on combat training, and still others on the preservation of ancient knowledge through holocrons and Sith texts. But perhaps that's the most chilling lesson of all. The Sith may be gone, but their temples remain, hidden in forgotten corners of the galaxy, buried beneath sacred sites, or standing as monuments to ancient evil. They wait. And in Star Wars, the past has a way of reaching into the present with consequences that reshape entire civilizations. So the next time you watch Vader's castle scenes, remember it was built for love, not hate. Because sometimes, the greatest monsters aren't built by the Sith, but by those who think they're saving the galaxy. If this video opened your eyes to the hidden darkness of Star Wars lore, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you haven't seen Part 1 yet, definitely check it out. It lays the foundation for everything we explored today. There's still so much more lurking in the shadows of the galaxy. Until then, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.